Restrain the beast!
More on this new in-game cutscene and what it may tell us about the plot in Hogwarts Legacy later in the video. Hogwarts Legacy will be a game that is anchored in Wizarding World lore. It's going to be an epic tale greatly inspired by the magical universe that was created by J.K. Rowling for the Harry Potter book series. The biggest difference here, though, is that Hogwarts Legacy will take place in the late 1800s. In fact, in one of the scenes from the trailer, we can see a newspaper that dates September 1st of 1890. More on that paper later. Harry Potter was born in the year 1980, and he first attended Hogwarts in 1991, so the events in Hogwarts Legacy will be taking place around a century before the 7 Harry Potter books. There's a decent amount of lore and history that can be taken from J.K. Rowling's works that Avalanche Games will be adhering to for Hogwarts Legacy, but the studio will also have a ton of creative freedom in their own storytelling. Before I go over what we can learn from the Hogwarts Legacy gameplay reveal trailer, let's start off with a little Wizarding World history. Hogwarts, the School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, was created around 990 AD, and it was founded by 4 of the greatest wizards and witches of the age, each representing an aspect of personality that they wanted to bring out in their students. This created the 4 houses of the school: Gryffindor, the house of courage, chivalry, nerve, and determination; Hufflepuff, the house of hard work, fair play, loyalty, patience, and dedication; Ravenclaw, the house of wit and wisdom; and Slytherin, the house of cunning, resourcefulness, leadership, and ambition. In Hogwarts Legacy, we'll be starting as a 5th-year student, which brings up several questions, of course, and we know that we'll be choosing one of these 4 houses to be a part of. I think this aspect of the game will tie heavily into more of the general RP aspects of your character. I don't think your house choice will necessarily have a huge effect on the overarching story, which I'm going to get into shortly, but it will likely uniquely affect many of the side quests and plots and general day-to-day things that this game will offer. So back to the history of the school. Hogwarts was of course created to be an extremely safe place to train young witches and wizards, but because of its extreme safety and power, the castle also became a place for protecting dangerous things from falling into the wrong hands. One clear example of this is the Sorcerer's Stone from the first Harry Potter book. At surface value, Hogwarts is probably the safest place in all the Wizarding world, but when you decide to also use it as a place to protect some of the most powerful magical artifacts in existence, it becomes a bit of a security compromise for the students. If we relate this to the forming plot in Hogwarts Legacy, well, we know that our player character has an innate ability to use and control a type of magic that is called ancient magic. In Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, Dumbledore describes Hogwarts as a stronghold for ancient magic. So now we know that we're going to Hogwarts for its 2 primary purposes of functionality. We're going to learn magic as a student and also discover more about something very, very powerful that the school is hiding and protecting: ancient magic. But what is ancient magic? Ancient magic is a powerful branch of magic that's been largely forgotten by the Wizarding world. According to several sources, it's a magic that occurs independently of the efforts of casters, an effect triggered by events and forces endemic to the nature of reality. The best example I can give of ancient magic in the Harry Potter books is when Harry's mother Lily sacrifices herself to save Harry from Voldemort. Her sacrifice, combined with the power of love, triggered ancient magic that created a sort of protective aura on Harry that prevented Voldemort from being able to kill Harry. So Lily Potter likely had some knowledge on ancient magic, but she wasn't able to just pull out her wand and use it on command and cast a spell. That's not how it works. This is where our character in Hogwarts Legacy will shine, as we have a very unique ability to actually manipulate ancient magic. This is going to be a core part of, if not the most foundational aspect of the forming plot of this game. I should also note here that dragons, which do have several notable appearances in both the initial reveal trailer and the gameplay reveal trailer, have thick hides full of ancient magic, which is one of the several reasons why they're so hard to kill. More on how that may relate to the plot in a little bit. Next, I want to talk about the Goblin Rebellions, as one of these rebellions seems to be taking place in Hogwarts Legacy. Throughout the history of the Wizarding world, there had been rebellions where goblins fought against discrimination and prejudice. Goblins are a highly intelligent race of small magical humanoids, and their overall relationship with the wizarding world has always been on the more tense, fragile side of the spectrum. Although the relationship between these two races has faults on both sides, the wizarding world clearly overpowered the goblins, and over time goblins became a race that many looked at as inferior to themselves. These beliefs would make their way into wizarding law, and goblins were actually forbidden from using wands by the Ministry of Magic, and this of course led to a deep-seated resentment. There has been several bloody rebellions over the history of the wizarding world, and although the history of the Goblin Rebellions is taught to students in the Harry Potter books in the 1900s, things were much more tense in the Hogwarts Legacy time, so I would expect to really feel this part of the wizarding world history while playing. One location where all Harry Potter fans will likely remember seeing goblins is of course at Gringotts Bank, which does seem to be likely to make an appearance in Hogwarts Legacy. Gringotts was founded by a goblin by the name of Gringott, but the Ministry of Magic would end up taking it over only to eventually give full control back to the goblins in 1865. Going back to that newspaper that showed us the date of this game, you can see that a potential Goblin Rebellion has begun, and it's being led by a goblin by the name of Ranrok. Ranrok does seem to play a very important role in this game, so it's important to understand what these Goblin Rebellions are. I think we've set up a decent foundation of knowledge to now really jump into the gameplay trailer and see what details we can get from this forming plot. In the gameplay reveal, the narrator says this:
"You're a new student at the famed School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, with a unique ability to manipulate powerful ancient magic hidden in the wizarding world. You'll need to uncover what's behind the return of this forgotten magic and who is seeking to harness it to destroy wizard kind, as you may be the one that decides the fate of the entire wizarding world."
So one of our goals is to uncover what's behind the return of this ancient magic, and to find out who is seeking to harness it to destroy all of the wizarding world. During that segment of the trailer, it shows none other than Ranrok and some of his cronies. So it seems like this particular Goblin Rebellion has been radicalized, and Ranrok may be seeking a way to wield ancient magic to possibly wipe wizards and witches off the face of the earth. Now, I also want to point out that the gameplay reveal tells us that we'll be working alongside the accomplished and enigmatic Professor Fig to try to discover if the rumors around the Goblin Rebellion hold any weight, and if the safety of Hogwarts lies in the balance. We even get a voice clip from Fig that says this:
"I have opinions differ as to how great a threat he really is."
The trailer gives the appearance that Ranrok is hell-bent on gaining power and killing everyone, but it doesn't outright say that. In fact, it even puts a little doubt into the air as to what Ranrok is really doing. This was until Avalanche released this PlayStation blog post. Your ties to an ancient magic put you on a collision course with a Goblin Rebellion led by Ranrok, aided by his alliance with a dark wizard Victor Rookwood, who both present formidable threats to the entire wizarding world. I'm certainly going to talk more about Victor after I finish this segment on the Goblin Rebellion. Ranrok has seen a glimmer of magic that wizardkind tried to hide, even for themselves, and he wants that power in particular. His worldview is skewed by his hatred of wizards, which makes his alliance with Victor particularly tenuous. Once Ranrok gets what he wants, no one will be able to stop him, and the wizarding world will be doomed. So that basically confirms that the Goblin Rebellion is in fact happening, and it's a major threat to the wizarding world. But personally, I still get the feeling that Ranrok is a bit of a red herring. More on that in a little bit. Now, I've seen some people talk about how this is a horrible, immoral plot for a video game, as we the players may be potentially trying to put an end to a rebellion which is fighting for, in some ways, I guess you could say, equal rights for goblins. I totally understand where this viewpoint is coming from, however, I personally look at this in a different light. First and foremost, equal rights for goblins may not even be Ranrok's primary motivation here. In fact, he might not care at all, and he may be using the cause for his own personal gains at the detriment of wizards and goblins alike. Ranrok's part of the plot seems to have a lot of potential complexities behind it, a lot of potential for real emotional attachment to the story. Ranrok appears to be this crazy evil goblin with nothing but perhaps genocide on his mind. But at the same time, even if equal rights is not his primary motivation, which it doesn't seem to be, you the player can probably feel some empathy as to why he may have turned out this way. It sounds like we may actually be presented with the choice of fighting against Ranrok or possibly helping him. If Avalanche Studios is able to create some real depth behind this character and also incorporate several other goblins with their own dialogue and opinions on matters, this could become a really interesting tale. One other element to note about Ranrok is that he seems to be aware of, or at least at some point he becomes aware of, our player character and the power that we wield. It seems like we'll actually become a primary target for him, and it's likely that he's looking for assistance in locating and understanding this ancient magic. Now let's talk a little bit about this Victor Rookwood character who is in some sort of alliance with Ranrok. The trailer points at Victor being a dark wizard, and for those unfamiliar, a dark wizard or witch were any magical person who primarily studies and or practice the dark arts, Lord Voldemort being a very notable name here. One noteworthy thing to point out is that there was a dark wizard and Death Eater that went by the name of Augustus Rookwood, who served Lord Voldemort in the 1900s. I'd say it's highly likely that Victor and Augustus do share a bloodline. What we don't really have any idea of here is Victor's true motivations and why he is in an alliance with Ranrok. If ancient magic was re-emerging in the wizarding world, of course most dark wizards would want this power for themselves, but I think there's probably a lot more to Victor's story than just simply gaining power. In fact, I get the feeling that Victor, or perhaps another dark wizard, will be the primary antagonist of this story, and Ranrok and his rebellion, although very likely to be an important element of the plot, is being used as a bit of a red herring. Going back to the initial reveal trailer, we see a few wizards that are wearing these skull masks. Now it is possible that these guys are part of the Dark Wizards, and one of them could even be Victor himself. What's really interesting about these masked wizards, though, is that they seem to be magical beast trackers that are potentially harming and corrupting fantastical beasts. This was further confirmed in a recent Hogwarts Legacy Autodesk presentation with this new in-game cutscene.
Yeah, we're straight in the face.
Highwing.
These masked wizards are clearly trying to take this hippogriff by any means necessary, but what for? Well, we of course do not know, but I should point out that in this scene from the initial reveal trailer, it looks like a masked wizard is coming to take this dragon. And then at the end of the trailer, we see a dragon flying towards Hogwarts. I'd say it's possible that the Dark Wizards, or whoever this masked faction is, are trying to build up an army of fantastical beasts to ultimately take over Hogwarts, likely for its ancient magical secrets. In the Autodesk presentation, we also got to see 3 options under the Mannequin tab for that program that are labeled Professor Battle of Hogwarts A, B, and C. So could this be a potential plot climax, a gigantic battle at Hogwarts with fantastical beasts? Not sure, but I definitely say it's quite possible, and incorporating fantastical beasts as part of the main plot makes a lot of sense when you take into account that the Fantastical Beasts movie series has been the hype of the Harry Potter franchise since 2016. So at the core of this forming plot, we have a young wizard or witch who has the ability to manipulate ancient magic. And for some reason, this long hidden and mostly forgotten ancient magic has been re-emerging in the wizarding world. It's up to us, the player, to not only uncover what's behind the return of this ancient magic, but also to uncover who is seeking to harness it to destroy the wizarding world. A goblin by the name of Ranrok is leading a radicalized Goblin Rebellion, and he seems to be one antagonist that is seeking to harness the power of this ancient magic to achieve his own personal goals. Ranrok is in an uneasy alliance with the Dark Wizards, and the most prominent Dark Wizard as of now appears to be Victor Rookwood. There's also a faction of what appears to be Poachers, which will likely tie into or could just be part of the Dark Wizards, that seem to be gathering and potentially corrupting fantastical beasts. Depending on what path you take, part of your plot may also be saving and protecting fantastical beasts, which would certainly attract fans of the Fantastical Beasts movie series. And that's the core of what we know about the plot from the trailers, but there's still a few other things and questions that arise that I'd like to quickly go over. First being that we're starting school as a 5th year student, and we'll be on some special curriculum to catch us up to the other 5th years. Starting as a 5th year brings up many plot questions, and it makes you wonder, why did we not go to Hogwarts as a 1st year student several years prior? Well, we actually do know a little bit about this from another PlayStation blog. And like Harry, the player's character is a bit of a celebrity from the outside due to the fact that they're starting as a 5th year, and because they survived a blank. So we survived something significant and are a bit of a celebrity. If you ask me, it might be a little bit too much like Harry Potter, but whatever, we'll have to wait to get more details. Whatever we survived likely ties a bit into ancient magic, just like Lily Potter saving Harry. Another major question is about corruption, as the gameplay trailer says that the wizarding world is fraught with dangers, including creatures corrupted by a magical force. You can see this corruption present in creatures in the trailer that have these red glowy eyes. What is this magical force and why is it corrupting creatures? Perhaps this force is being used by the dark wizards and the only way to stop it is through ancient magic. Speaking of ancient magic, the trailer also mentions none other than the legendary medieval wizard and member of King Arthur's court, Merlin. In the wizarding world lore, Merlin actually attended Hogwarts before he joined King Arthur. The trailer says that we may be solving puzzles that may well have been designed by Merlin himself. What role will Merlin, or perhaps the history of Merlin, play in Hogwarts Legacy? And lastly, since we're on the topic of powerful wizards, I should also point out that Albus Dumbledore attended Hogwarts as a first-year student in 1892. This would likely be 2 years after our initial attendance, and if the game takes us to 1892, we will be 7th level students. Coincidence that Avalanche chose to have us go to school at overlapping times with Dumbledore? I think not. Thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for more Hogwarts Legacy content.